Hello and welcome to the first episode of Covering the Bases. I am your host, Emilee Smarr, and today with me I have my first guest, Mr. Alex Dodd. How's it going, Alex?
Going good. Ready for baseball season.
So am I. I figured who better to have with me here today than the guy that sat beside me in the press box all last season. So, on that note, let's recap the last moment of the 2020 season, which, if we remember correctly, we were playing the Winthrop Eagles and Chad Ferry had a 2-out walk-off single. Just to finish it out, you know?
Yeah, we had to have an 11-inning game to close the season. And I remember sitting in the press box, we're following everything that's happening on Twitter. The Utah Jazz game stopped in the middle.
The whole world stopped.
Because of COVID. And then next thing you know, world stops and season ends. So abrupt stop to the end of the season last year.
For sure. But nonetheless, the Tigers finished with a 14-3 overall record and had a 3-0 record for the ACC with that Boston College sweep. But while the record looked really good last year, you can't deny that a lot of those games were nail-biters.
Yeah, there were a lot of close games. It was an exciting start to the season. We always kind of say you can't really figure anything out about a baseball team until after the first about month and a half of the season. And I think we had started to learn a lot about that team, and it was really disappointing to see it all come crashing down at the end.
Yeah, 100%. And, you know, two of those games in the Boston College series were only separated by one run. When we went to Columbia, we really had some trouble there, too. You put 7 up on the board the first day, but then the next day you really see that defense struggle whenever we're down 3 runs. And then, you know, the third day, obviously we came out with a win on top, but we really struggled on the mound and at bat early on in the game.
Yeah, they definitely had some trouble early in the year getting things going in the middle of games, but they always found a way to come back at the end and pull out big wins in clutch situations. And that was kind of the identity of the team, was finding a way to win in close games, finding a way to come back when they were down. And it was definitely exciting to watch those 17 games last year.
Yeah, 100%. And on that note, I think it's really important to note where we lost pitchers on the pitching staff last year. We lost Spencer Strider, Sam Weatherly, Sheldon Reed in the bullpen, Carson Spires. I mean, obviously we have some great guys coming back like Keyshawn Askew and Davis Sharp, but nonetheless, you know, there's some uncertainty in the bullpen.
Yeah, there's definitely some uncertainty in the bullpen. Weatherly had an incredible year last year through those 17 games, was lights out. Nobody could hit him. Carson Spires has been a reliable closer for the Tigers for the last few years. So there are definitely some key pieces that Clemson has to replace. But Monty Lee talked with the Clemson Insider earlier this year and really is very confident in the depth of his bullpen with the new freshmen that are coming in and some graduate transfers who are going to carry the load for the Tigers this year.
For sure. That's what I was actually going to talk about too. You know, it's just like the 2019 recruiting class that we saw. It was really pitcher heavy, and this season it's pitcher heavy as well. So I really don't think that we're going to be losing any depth there. What guys would you say that you're really excited to see come out and play this semester?
Well, I think everybody's really excited to see the freshman Caden Grice come in. He's a guy who could potentially be a weekend starter for the Tigers. Freshman right-hander. He has a dominant fastball, and he also has great power at the plate. Really shut down a lot of the Tigers in fall practice and made a great showing on the mound and at the plate. He's going to be a player who can pick up some duties and a few at-bats in the midweek and also go out and pitch for you on the weekend. And that depth is just building and building with all the guys that are coming back in Clemson's lineup. He's going to be a big boost. And then Rob Hughes, the graduate transfer from Furman, a closer. Monty Lee and the pitching staff, they're all really excited to have him. Has a 96-mile-an-hour fastball, power right-hander, good changeup, good breaking ball. And he's going to bring good stuff to the bullpen for the Tigers to help close out some crucial games this year.
For sure, and that's another thing to notice with this 2020 recruiting class. These guys are throwing 93, 94-mile-an-hour fastballs, and they are not letting up in the slightest. And it really looks like that's the way that the game's going at this point. With that being said, other than behind the mound, I'm really excited to see what we're doing behind the bat as well. And you can't help but to mention these returning starters, Elijah Henderson, who we really saw totally evolve his game over fall ball, pretty much. And now he's coming out and he's batting a .323 in the 2020 season. Not to mention everyone's favorite here, Meredith, the on-base king with .444 on-base percentage for his career stat.
Yeah, I mean, those two guys were really the anchor of the Clemson offense last year. When other guys hit slumps early in the season that we expected to come out and perform well, those two really carried the load. Both of them started 17 games. They pretty much led Clemson in every category offensively, tied for a few and then split on the others. But I'm excited to see them come out. Kier had a great fall baseball season, batted .367 in the fall, .439 on base percentage. And then, Elijah Henderson does pretty much the same thing. They
have the same slugging percentage, don't they?
Yeah,
they last season. Yeah.
I mean, they really showed out last season, and then both won the Mitchell Award, which is given to Clemson's most valuable player. They shared the award, and those two are really going to be the anchor for Clemson's offense again this year.
For sure, and I can definitely see that too. But who's kind of a dark horse that you're seeing coming out?
Yeah, one player that I actually have heard a few of the guys as we've talked with them in the offseason for different articles that we've done is Max Starbuck. I've actually heard that he had a really good fall ball. He's really evolved his game and may come out and have a good season this year. Also, Cooper Ingle, Monty Lee was really high on him in the preseason. Said he's going to be an everyday guy, can play left field, can DH, can play in the infield, and pretty much do whatever they need him to. So Cooper Ingle, another name to watch out for this season.
Player that I'm really excited to see is Carter Raffield. He's a pitcher. His 2019 season suffered an arm injury, wasn't able to play at all. But in his first career appearance against Liberty, we saw him pitch a perfect inning.
Yeah, I mean, Carter had a pretty good offseason. Monty Lee's really high on him. He could be in the mix for possibly some starting roles or coming in out of the bullpen. He has great stuff, and I'm excited to see what he does as he gains more consistency and really gets fully recovered and out of that funk that he was in after his injury last season, or 2 seasons ago.
For sure. It's so hard to keep up with it now, with COVID and the injuries. It's all just on top of each other. Nonetheless, altogether, what would you say that the strengths and weaknesses are for this Clemson team?
I mean, Clemson has a solid core in the lineup. They're still looking at what their identity is going to be in the infield. So there's going to be some competition there in the next few weeks before they open things up with Cincinnati. I think they do have a lot of depth in the bullpen. It's going to be interesting to see how these grad transfers and new freshmen kind of gel in the lineup. But behind a solid core led by Meredith and Henderson at the plate, and then a host of other guys in the bullpen, I think Clemson's got a pretty good shot at having a special season this year.
100%. And on that note, I would say that you covered all the bases.
That's a good ending.
I'm sorry. Make sure to tune in on February 19th whenever the Tigers open up the season against the Cincinnati Bearcats in Doug Kingsmore Stadium. Once again, I'm Emilee Smarr. This has been Alex Dodd. Thank you for tuning in to Covering the Bases, and we'll see you next week.